Hey, Liron here. Today we're going to learn how to solve watercolor overwork forever. And this might end up being one of the most important lessons you have to learn about watercolor painting. So I'm going to start with the more detailed and overworked version. I'm going to show you side by side how I handle things differently. So first off, I pre-wet an area because I want a soft transition there on the car's windshield. There is this strong area of light. We want to preserve it as an important part of the painting. And look, I'm not going to strawman my argument. I'm going to show you a good attempt, something that isn't fully overworked, but is actually pretty good. But then I'll show you how to get it done more effectively with less overwork, because what you have to understand is overwork is a spectrum. It's not either or. Some paintings are a little overworked. Some paintings are very overworked. Some paintings look overworked and extra labored, but still look great. So it's not a binary thing. It's not either or. Take it as you will. But what I'm going to show you is a more effective way of doing things. So I painted a windshield, that is a very important part of the car because of that highlight. And now moving on to the side of the car. And I'm not connecting it fully because there's a highlight there. And with that, I'm going to let this step pause and we're going to move into the newer attempt. Now you'll notice here, I do not have a pencil sketch. This is just how I decided to do it. You can be less overworked with a pencil sketch. It's not an inherent part. Don't follow it. Don't follow exactly what I do to the T. Think about the essence of what I'm demonstrating for you. Okay. So we're going to approach this pretty much the same way, but notice how I'm just a little more direct here. I'm putting in colors that I feel like would be more final. And also, of course, I have the benefit of some lessons and insights from that previous version, because I did the left one first and then the right one. And again, I'm not strawmanning this. I want to show you two good attempts, okay, somewhat good attempts. Whether I like the overworked one or the simpler, more direct one better, I'll keep to myself for now. But yes, so this is the windshield, and now we're going to move on to the left side of the car. Of course, you can expect my proportions to be not as perfect as the one with the sketch, but that's not really the point here. It's not really about accuracy. It's more about how can you do a lot with fewer brush marks. And so you'll notice that I'm painting that side of the car, and so far up to this point things have been quite similar, but the differences are going to start mainly in this next stage, because what I'm going to do is on this attempt, you'll see me, I'm starting that wash for the shadow of the car and the side of the car, like the front and the side, and you're going to see in a moment how I approach this. What I'm doing here is more of a let's set up an underpainting, but I'm going to work wet and wet. Okay, so it's not really an underpainting. I don't let it dry, but I'm starting to establish what I'm seeing. A bit of blue here, a bit of more neutral there. There's nothing wrong about that. That's what I want you to have in mind. This isn't a wrong way of doing things. It's a bit more of a step-by-step, methodical, like trying to plan things out a little more in stages, okay? But taken to an extreme, this does turn into overwork, and I'm going to show you exactly how. So first things first. My value is far from final, right? Which means I'm going to have to continue doing wet and wet and push it to be darker and darker. Right now I'm taking care of this edge, and we're going to move on to the other attempt soon. But bear in mind, look at the value. It is still quite light, okay? And that's going to play an important role later on, because when we want to approach something a little more directly and reduce overwork, the best option is to almost just put the final paint where you see it. It usually ends up working better. And here it's not what I'm doing. What I'm doing is more, okay, I have wet paper. I'm taking my time. I'm going to slowly push this towards a more final look. Whereas with my new attempt that you're going to see in just a moment, I'm going to skip to it. Things are a little more direct. Again, ideally, if you can put the final color down immediately, you'd get a fresher result. And here, look at the yellow for that license plate. Even for that, I kind of go light, right? With the expectation to go darker later, right? That's pretty much what's going on here. We will go darker later. So I'm starting to do some wet and wet here for the sides, but this even is not the final wet and wet, okay? I'm just pushing it a step darker. Again, you might look at this and say, what's wrong? Nothing is wrong, okay? But look at how I'm approaching things here. I paint this with the understanding of I am not going to spend a lot of layers and a lot of wet and wet on it. So let's just get to the juicy part, right? And I'm pushing the value right out the gate to be strong enough. And you'll see this in the front of the car. You'll see this to the side of the car. And this mindset is what carries the result. That's 100% how it works in watercolor. The way you approach things is kind of a combination of your experience, your abilities and skills and all of that, and your taste, and then the mindset, what you have in mind, the way you plan the painting out. So my mindset here is a lot more direct, which is why I'm coming back with way stronger paint. And notice how I painted that entire left section very much as a whole pattern, going from warm to slightly cool. I did not start to say, okay, this is blue, this is gray, this is purple. I just put the whole thing down in one go. And that does make things look more fresh. Now, the craziest thing is, right now you're thinking, yes, but like if I want to go more detailed, if I want to go more accurate, isn't the left part the more labored way of doing things better? I'm going to show you at the end of this video, so stay tuned, because I'm going to put them side by side and we're going to look at them zoomed out, and you tell me how big of a difference this entire extra work that's like 15 minutes longer process on the left side, just you tell me how much you think it added, okay? You're going to see it's a little surprise for the end, but you'll see it. You'll see both paintings zoomed out a bit. I plan on scrubbing through these, so I might pause at some point. But in any case, on with this one. So we have, and this is still wet. Don't forget, I paused the video. We didn't let it dry. This is still wet and wet, okay? But now I have the light values, and I'm kind of forced to fill in the in-betweens with a bit more blues, a bit of stronger colors, together with the blacks that I'm putting right now, right? So it's always a mix of colors. I pushed this to be like a light mid value, but we're still not there yet. And that's exactly the difference when you build things slowly as opposed to when you just put directly what you're seeing there. If I'm being honest, just the way I enjoy painting, I love being as direct as possible. Some of my best paintings are those that have been painted as directly as possible, especially from the 100 Cars challenge. That is very obvious there. It's just the way that works better for me, okay? And this is why, by the way, if you're like me and that's what you prefer, check out the frustration-free watercolor course. I'm going to put a link below. My approach to watercolor painting, very loose, very free, led by joy and freedom and expressiveness. And there are a lot of exercises, a lot of understandings and knowledge you can acquire to get you there. And this is exactly what the course is about. So if you want to acquire that knowledge, it's like 26 lessons. It will get you there. You will find your freedom. You will be able to stop overworking your painting. So if you want to dive deeper, definitely check that out. It's going to be the first link in the description box. I highly recommend you check it out. And I always mention this, by the way, in recent videos. If you're more advanced, by the way, look at how fewer details are necessary here, right? We already established the main shapes just in one quick wash. Now, look at this yellow. It's going to fall in place perfect, like a yellow-brown. That's it. We don't have to darken it later. We don't have to work at it again. It's just there, and it's good looking. It's the right value and color pretty much. To me, this is the epitome of watercolor painting. Now, here on this one, I do have to go over it again and again. And again, nothing wrong with that. It's not a mistake. Some people prefer it. Some people are more inspired by it. Sometimes I am more inspired by this process. I always have to give these caveats, right? And the left-hand attempt will be a little more accurate, right, drawing-wise. But again, wait for the end, because I'm going to zoom out and you tell me, okay? You tell me what you think about this. I was just going to mention, if you're a little more advanced and you have somewhat of loose and free touch, but you're just not sure why things aren't working for you, consider getting your paintings critiqued by me, getting feedback. I make a personal video for you. You send me up to 3 paintings, and I tell you exactly in detail, it's like 20-30-minute videos, what I think is missing, what to fix, how to make it better. And you'll know exactly, you'll have the full clarity. And it's these kinds of things, let me remove the tape over there, it's these kinds of things that really evolve your paintings in a short period of time relatively fast, because you just get the actual thing you need, right? It's not going to be paint looser, mind your values, or it's going to be specifics, okay? So consider checking that out if you're a little more advanced. And I do have quite a few, I think like 20% of my viewers are a little more advanced. It sounds like a little, but it's actually quite a lot. But in any case, I did want to show you how I approach the background in each one of these. So this one, clearly a little more direct, a little more in one go, starting with this a little bit of a yellow orangey. It felt to me like those beautiful greens in the background had a lot of it in them. And then as I moved to the right, I started adding carbazole violet and now ultimately blue. This is a combination of cobalt blue and ultramarine, just to kind of set the tone that there's maybe a fence there. It's not grass, it's something a little more neutral, some kind of a separation, and trees, of course. Now, these things are just visual elements. That's the beauty of once you have your focal point and the main thing, it's all about just visual details. Okay, there's a big orange area, top left of the painting, right? There's a touch of blue to the right. Like, these things register as abstract shapes and abstract composition, which I find to be more interesting than painting each and every detail. And make no mistake, this painting that I'm working and I'm showing you right now, it's not like hyper realistic, it's not hyper detailed, it's still quite loose in a way. So far, by the way, it's pretty similar, but then the next step is going to be a little more adding another layer on top of it. And I'm going to put a little more care to that sidewalk and all of it. Now, you look at these two attempts, you choose what feels right to you. None of these are hyper realistic, of course, as I mentioned. You can paint way more realistically. I have painted way more realistically than both of these attempts. It's really a matter of mood and kind of how you feel. You will have just personality-wise an inclination or kind of a proclivity to one way more than the other for the most part, for most people. But, you know, break your box, try different things. You know, don't force yourself, don't pigeonhole your style. Just go with what feels right. That's the best advice I can give you, really. Now, I know these look quite different, but again, just wait for the final result. It's going to be like in a minute on the screen. And you will see I am just running through a lot of this in time lapse because it's just establishing the background. I'm going to add this car to the left, though, that I really, really like. So a bit of opaque white paint there. I kind of wanted to add it after the fact. I had a feeling I might do that. While I have that opaque paint, I'm putting in some details in the shadow, throwing in that car, that dark for the tire. I will go over the highlight again just to make it a little bit lighter, though it's not a must. Yeah, I should have cut that part out. It's a little nothing. Adding a bit of darks here and there, just putting things in the full right context. Things that aren't necessary on the right-hand attempt, right? And that's how it works. If you go bold, go direct, put in the colors and shapes you're seeing immediately, you don't have to then rework, overwork, glaze with a darker yellow. You don't need these things. Again, some of my best work has been done like super direct. There's something to watercolor that really encourages that, and it really lets the paint shine, in my opinion, my personal opinion. You may disagree, and that's fine. A bit of highlights there on the front. There's a strong one on the logo of the car. It's a couple of touches, and I will sign this and then strengthen back that highlight on the car to the left. But pretty much this is done. This is the comparison. But wait, I'm going to show it to you zoomed out. That's the more important part. Okay. But let's just go over this car here to the top left corner. Look at this beautiful highlight. I really like this. Okay. So look at these two. I'm going to pause the video for a moment. Now, what I'm going to do is, I know it's crazy, but I'm going to zoom out a bit and just look at how almost little of a difference all of the things we made. Yes, you can tell a bit more about the reflections and about the shapes, but look at how in the grand scheme of things, it's not a big difference. Now imagine this. Imagine this car is a small part of the scene. It's not the full scene. Then how much overwork will the left-hand attempt be as opposed to the right one that just gets to the point, just shows you the very basics that you need. And again, very arguable. You could say you like the left-hand attempt better, the right-hand attempt better. Both show aspects of watercolor that I love, but I will say very often as beginners, there's a tendency to really try and show each and every detail, whereas one confident brush mark or one confident wash over an area and then a bit of bringing out some details can go a long way. And if you ask me, for example, the background on the right-hand attempt is objectively better. Forget about the car to the left. I mean, just the background, this dark area to the right, in my opinion, much better. The windshield, I do like it a lot on the right-hand attempt. The license plate, I like it a lot better there. But then, you know, I like the more blues on the left. I like more of the reflections. My point is this. This is what separates beginners from advanced from professionals. It's the ability to make that switch and decide to be less literal with what you're showing and be a bit more direct with your shapes and lines. I hope that makes sense. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out the frustration-free watercolor course, link in the description box below, or consider getting your paintings critiqued by me. By the way, thank you so much. This is how I make my living. This is how I feed the family and everything. So your support is much, much appreciated. And I do want to thank just everyone for your support. I really, it means the world to me. So thank you so much. I will see you in the next vid.